In this video, I will cover for you the Altar of Leviathan, the latest trench lore drop. So, welcome back to the trenches, and shall we begin? In 1865, the Heraklion earthquake struck the north coast of Crete, and its devastating shockwaves were felt all across the hellfront of Anatolia, the Levant, and North Africa, wiping hundreds of settlements from the map in a single night of terror. 100-foot-high waves surged across the Mediterranean, causing untold devastation before being funneled into the Gulf of Alexandretta, where by the time it drew near the town of Dorithol, the compressed tidal wave was 1,000 feet high. Its people gathered on the shore to witness their onrushing doom, praying for God to save them. And then a miracle. The townsfolk watched in astonishment as the wave slowed and eventually halted half a mile from the shoreline, a titanic wall of water held back by the power of the Almighty. Also they believed. The water foamed and seethed like a beast denied its prey, and when the wave retreated back to the deep ocean, a rocky landscape strewn with half-devoured corpses and the debris of faraway lands was revealed. On the exposed seabed, the people of this area discovered an ancient temple of such strange form and unnatural scale that most would not dare approach for fear of their mortal souls. It lay canted at a strange angle, ripped from unknown foundations, and carried on a great slab of greenish-black stone no quarryman could name. Now, a little side thing here, there is a story by Robert E. Howard called The Black Stone. He's the creator of Conan, most famously, and in this story, it's heavily influenced by Lovecraft, as is this lore, I think. Within the works of Robert E. Howard, the story is set around the monolith, where you're going to have nightmares if you stay near it for too long, and the sacrifices of the young are made to it. It could be a subtle reference to that, or I'm talking way off base. Now back to the lore. Those reckless few who dared explore the ruins found a great obelisk of the same greenish-black stone that resembled a serrated tooth, but one of such scale that it could not possibly be from anything living. All could feel the power emanating from the stone and fell to their knees before what must surely be a gift from God. Before the waters returned, the obelisk was dragged from the temple and set atop a high hilltop in the craggy heights before the town. It became known as the Altar of Leviathan, a holy wonder that was never spoken of in the presence of outsiders. In the years that passed, no matter how the fighting against hell waxed and waned, Dorithol was spared the fire and fury of battle, with the forces of the faithful and the damned seemingly all but blind to its presence. And thanks for this great mercy, votive offerings were made at the foot of the altar, food and wine, gold and livestock, for it seemed that the power that had saved them from the tsunami was still potent and ever hungry. But in 1871 AD, the heretic submarine congregant of Mammon surfaced ashore, and armoured killers marched towards the town with murder in their hearts. In desperation, the townsfolk once again turned to the altar, this time offering the most profane sacrifices of their own flesh and blood in return for salvation. No one speaks of that now, but when the submarine's carcass was later discovered drifting off the easternmost tip of Cyprus, it was little more than a gutted hulk, its crew missing and its internal bulkheads painted crimson with their blood. Today, Dorithol still stands untouched by the horrors of war, and as they have done on the darkest night of each year, the townsfolk lay yet another unspeakable sacrifice upon the altar before hastily retreating to their homes, where every door is painted with strange symbols none can remember learning and sealed fast with iron nails. On that dreadful night, strange fogs wreath the town, and the muffled tread of heavy, wet footfalls can be heard on the cobbles outside. Fearful men and women cower by their cold hearths, hoping those beyond will keep walking. But with every surprise, one home stands empty, the living souls who once occupied it taken by unknown captors and never seen again. And that's the end of the lore. Random thoughts I have on it. It seems those desperate sacrifices did offer some aid, perhaps of the court opposed to Mammon, or something more ancient. The symbols remind me of those mentioned with the Path of the Beast lore, and within the Path of the Beast lore it's mentioned of something ancient. It says, "Long did the memory of the dark cult lie dormant, At the edge of nightmares, slumbering in sleepless sleep, kept alive only in eroded idols brought from beyond the stars that dimmed aeons ago. So we could speculate, but this is called the altar of Leviathan, which means it's probably related to the Leviathan, and that's a biblical reference. In the Bible, it's a serpent of chaos. Within Isaiah, it says, "On that day, the Lord with his severe sword, great and strong, will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, Leviathan, that twisted serpent, and he will slay the reptile that is in the sea." That's a for example, and there are other references. But we don't know much of how that applies to the Leviathan in Trench Crusade. There is a large serpent on the awesome map we got last year though, so maybe something could come from that. And just to update you, I have the Fall of Egypt and Sniper Priest lore recorded, but this one excited me the most, so I think I'll put this out first with the others to follow. So thank you for bearing with me whilst I took a little YouTube holiday, but I'll be coming out over the next few weeks from this release date with some more videos for you.